Alright guys, so we're doing another Dan Lok Wing Chun video commentary. This time we're looking at the hook punch and how to stop the hook punch cold. And guys, this is an interesting video because this is a great example of how not to stop the hook punch. And classic Dan Lok in his guru ways is giving, again, really bad advice. And I'm talking advice that could result in a really easy knockout if you were to face someone that actually knows how to throw a hook punch. Let's get to it. Oh, there's the classic Bruce Lee footage. Gotta love it. And he likes using Bruce Lee a lot. And by the way, that's not even a hook punch in any capacity. And this is a completely different application for a different type of attack. Don't know why. Well, I know why he's doing this. He wants to associate himself with Bruce Lee. So he has to open with this clip. Classic Dan Lok.
How to stop the hook punch?
Hold on. This guy, how is he throwing that? How is that? Does not look like a punch, a hook punch. It doesn't look like a punch, and definitely not much of a hook punch. And yeah, I think that speaks for itself right off the bat what we're gonna get ourselves into here. Let's listen to what Dan has to say.
Cold. Now this is a very common punch in North America, kind of like the hook punch or the sucker punch.
Yeah, a hook punch and a sucker punch are, I would argue, are quite different things, different applications. Number one, the sucker punch comes out of nowhere. You don't expect it. It could be a haymaker type punch. It's just a wild swing at you. And it could be a really tight hook for all you know, but it's really that element of surprise. But generally speaking, I would argue that a sucker punch is just any sort of punch that comes at you, typically from any angle, generally like a wide angle or a big swing at you out of the blue when you don't expect it. Whereas a hook punch is more of a technical thing. It's coming from Western boxing, as we know, and it's for a close distance, coming at a very sharp angle, and used strategically. So they're completely different things. You can't assume that one is the same as the other. So nice one, Dan.
Now in Wing Chun, how do you do that? How to defend that? A lot of Wing Chun guys, they will say, oh, you do the cancel, you do all that. I'm going to show you how to do that, but I'm also going to give you a realistic scenario.
Ooh, I'm excited. A realistic scenario. Which, by the way, if you guys aren't watching, do watch the background, okay? The guys that are training the quote-unquote realistic scenario of how to defend against the hook punch. You don't need to be a martial arts expert to know that this is not realistic. Like, look at that guy in the back, the gentleman throwing the punch. Does that in any way look like a realistic hook punch to you? You be the judge.
What happens, and chances are, personally, I've ever seen very few Wing Chun guys that can actually block it. Because blocking it, again, is not the first resort, it's the last resort. But I'm going to show you some drills and the proper techniques and how do you defend yourself if someone does throw a hook punch to you, and so you can protect your head. So you don't get
really excited to see this.
Freaking get hit, right?
Oh, there's the Bruce Lee. Hey, I'm Bruce Lee. I was taught by Bruce Lee's students. I'm really good at what I do.
So these guys, they're training in the back. I'm going to point out a few things, okay? Can I hold you for a second? So,
Here we
the
go.
hook punch. Now,
What's with this haircut? Is it just me? Or is this like a new style? I don't get it. And like, you have to shave that every week, right? Like, I shave my head. And to maintain a cut like that, you have to do it quite often. So, I don't know. It's weird. And it's only on the one side.
you think about the hook punch. Let's say this is the hook punch. That's flying in. Now, we talk about in Wing Chun, we do the tan sao, which is where we start. I'm going to show you the tan sao. I'm going to do it the traditional way, which why I think it doesn't work. I know some Wing Chun.
I'm sorry. If the traditional way that you were taught, that where it doesn't work and actually doesn't block a hook punch or a swinging punch, you're doing it wrong or you're taught wrong. So that should be a sign that you should find a new teacher.
Practitioners watching this, you might disagree with me, but I'm going to prove my point and just experiment you with yourself, okay? So slowly as he throws the hook punch, we talk about...
Does that look like a hook punch, guys? Nope, not a hook punch. That I would argue is more like a wild swing, a haymaker. You know, like the classical scenario of a drunken person swinging at you. That is not a hook punch. We all know what a hook punch really looks like. It's a very tight punch in close range, right? And you set it up strategically. You don't just go in and swing at the guy from a distance. This is a classic example of bad Wing Chun teaching, where they're using, I guess, people to throw a punch, or the attacker. They're using poor examples of that, and then what it does is it trains a false sense of confidence in you. And I think more teachers should teach or have their students know how to throw a proper attack, do it technically sound, so that they can add that realism. This is not a hook punch, guys. The hook punch comes really tight. The angle is much sharper and much tighter as a result, as if you're turning your fist like 90 degrees. I don't know how to explain it, but you want to have that arm bent, that elbow bent. You see how this guy's elbow is pretty straight. This is like a bitch slap to the face. This is not a hook punch.
Do the concept, and then we do the punch, right? Very common. Here's a problem. Give me just a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, nope. This is a huge fallacy here. He's just not intentionally doing the proper tansao. He doesn't have the right angle. If you were taught the tansao properly, it can stop. And he actually does know how to do it. He'll demonstrate that later, I imagine, with a different move. But that just shows that he actually does do it. I think he's just using this to bait people, or to just make himself look better, or maybe he just generally doesn't know. I have no idea, but that's just my gut feeling looking at his, how he's gonna actually show us how to defend against it. Hook punch, quote unquote.
You see that? Forget like Shin is not even that big. Give it even a little bit more pressure. You see?
Does that look like a hook punch to you guys? It's like a bitch slap, right? This is not a hook punch. Look at this. It's so straight. His arm's so straight. Anyone can block this. Doesn't take much. All right. If you're going to train against the hook punch, make sure the attacker throws a proper hook punch.
If this is my head, I'm going to get knocked out. So this actually, not that it does not work, it's just most people don't do it properly. Now, give me a little bit more pressure. Why does it stop? Because now I'm not waiting for the punch to come in. See this.
I would also argue that his angle is different too. The angle of his block is a very different angle than what he was demonstrating earlier. Yes, there's that forward pressure element, but I think also his angle that he used, and you can do that with a tansao. Doesn't matter. I just think he's not talking about it. He wants to show that he's probably better than other Wing Chun styles.
This is my structure. This needs to go forward. It's like tossing a coin. It's power time, right? That's why when you do your form, it's not a hard defense, right? Here, it's hard again. This, he should feel something. And this is not what stops the punch. One more time, hit hard. This is what stops the...
Poor guy. He's okay. The guy that is being demoed on, I'm sure he's doing fine. Interesting. Yeah, and you know what? I agree with this. You want to hit with both. You want to hit with the other hand in addition to the defense at the same time.
80% of stopping is by hitting this guy. When his head is going backward, this has no power. I'm not waiting for him to do...
I would argue that 100% is both. So you want to do the defense 100% as well as hitting him 100%, not 80-20.
Right? As I see a blur, this
is not a hook punch. I'm sorry, you're not stopping this. In fact, the way let me see if I can rewind this for you guys. Let's see if we can catch this right there. You see what's happening here? He's stopping the bitch slap of a punch, and which is fine if that's the type of attack that's coming at you. It'll do the trick, right? But if it's a hook, the hook, you're going to be bending at the elbow. So it's actually going to be coming in past his arm, you see? So he's still quite vulnerable. And you're also very vulnerable to an overhand right or a corkscrew punch. It slips right over Dan's arm. And that's what happens in a real hook punch. In addition, the hook punch, like I said, it's a setup, right? You set it up. You don't just go in with the hook punch. So you go in with the jab, you go in through a cross, I don't know, you go in some feints or fakes. And then when you're in that range, then you slide the hook punch in. And so the elbow would be bent. It'd be very, very close quarters. It's a completely different scenario than what he's actually demonstrating. And it's because his students are brand spanking new. You could tell. They have no idea what they're doing. They must have had a couple lessons with the guy. And by the way, how much is Dan charging for these lessons? Like, I know his consults and his quote unquote sales calls, he's charging $10,000 a consult. How much are these kids paying for his Wing Chun lessons, right? But yeah, this is completely unrealistic. And like I said, the arm should be bent, the hook punch should be bent, and it could actually snake over and clock Dan, or if it's a corkscrew, if it's got some momentum, it's got some intention, it's a completely different ball game that Dan is not addressing.
This, I move in. I don't stay the same because where is his power? It's at the very end of the fist. If I stay, I'm staying at his range of power. Push, push, push. See that?
Okay, see how far apart they are? Again, this argument, I get what he's trying to do. You want to go in, you want to put your forward intention. I totally agree with that. That's what I would do as well. But my point here is use someone that actually knows how to throw a hook punch and then actually show us how to defend it, right? This is not. It has nothing to do with it. This is not a hook punch at all. And all the mechanics, the dynamics, and his advice is not truly addressing how to stop a hook punch cold. You are going to get knocked out if you do this.
Its range of power is not here. That's why Wing Chun, it goes against human nature. When you see danger,
see, look how far they are. So no, if his argument is you need to go forward and you have to be close range, then do that, right? But show me with the opponent already being really close to you too, because that's how they're going to deliver the hook punch.
Human nature. But if you train your nervous system again and again and again, when you see danger, you move in. You move in, right? Again.
Right? Look at that. Look at that arm. It's a bitch slap. This is nothing. Of course it's going to work. You don't need Wing Chun for this. You just put your arm up. You don't. Anybody can do this. Anyone can defend from this type of a hit.
You move in. So try that. Move in.
Let's watch his students, right? This is the best reflection of a teacher right here. Let's see.
Both guys.
Did that look like a hook punch? Does that guy look threatening at all? And of course they're trying to be friendly and they're training partners, but this is dangerous stuff. And I see this in a lot of Wing Chun schools and other martial arts schools, right? They don't know how to throw the attack effectively. And this is something that teachers don't want to address. I don't get it. I understand, but at the same time, how can we just let this be okay? This is actually quite dangerous. You're teaching bad habits. They're going to learn the wrong solution for the wrong technique, build their confidence. And then when they get into a street fight or spar, they're going to have a rude awakening and they lose complete confidence in the art, right? That does more damage to passing on the tradition of Wing Chun, in my opinion. Watch, was that a hook? Look at this. There's like nothing there. And the distance is static, right? They're just staying in that one spot. Who does that in a scenario where they're trying to actually hit you, right? They move in your safe zone, they move out of the safe zone, right? There's some level of movement, bobbing, weaving. As a defender, you would be moving so that you want to break that distance up and change things. And then the punch needs to be actually like threatening and it needs to be somewhat realistic. It doesn't have to hurt on contact, but the distance, the pace, the dynamic should definitely be there. And you can tell that the students have no idea how to throw the punch. And I would argue that the guy that's doing the Wing Chun isn't doing a tremendous job either. Look at that. He needs to be closer. His punch needs to really, you got to be able to sense that power behind it. It's not there. There's no gas.
And take your time. Don't
Look at this.
So easy to count. Take your time.
Look, this guy is already ready. He's already got the block. Like, he's already got the block ready to go. All he's got to do is just move his elbow, like, 3 inches up and to the right or to the left. And ta-da, he's so good at it. And he's going to think that he can know how to block a hook punch. And let's see how this guy throws the punch.
Take a few seconds and full punch. Take a few seconds.
Oh. Right? No, the hook punch isn't that wide, right, guys? There's a little bit of a bend, I'll give him that, but it's much tighter. And look at this arm. All he did was just lift it up. He already knows what the defense is. This is not good training at all, but this is common. You see this in a lot of schools in every martial art.
Full punch.
Yeah.
And Drake, when you're
There's nothing
practicing,
there.
don't do this fist because you might hurt him if he miss. Do a loose fist or just do a palm, but give Jack some. So if I do like this,
See? Does that look like a hook, guys? What are you hitting? Dan, what part of your fist lands? Is it right? This should be the actual flat part of the fist in boxing, as they teach you in boxing. None of that's happening. And I don't, even if he took his hand out there and moved it away, there is no hook happening. There is no hook happening here. I will give Dan credit, though. I think he's trying to tell him to hit him with more intention and to do it safely. Right? Of course you want to do that. When I have students or if I'm training as the attacker, you can still put the right pressure. You can still keep your fist clenched if you want to. You can still have the timing and the technique down. And do it in a way where you don't actually hurt the guy. You can even slow it down. That's fine. There's plenty of ways to train it more realistically, but in a more controlled fashion. This is bad.
right? You're not doing him a favor because his structure is actually wrong. Yeah. If I was to go through, it would have hit him.
See? You saw what he did. He actually changed the angle, and you can see how it snakes over if there's real intent. He's got the intent to hit here in this example because he's teaching his students, when a student is practicing with the teacher, the student always goes easier. Just mentally, they've got this respect and awe for the teacher, right? So they never want to fully attack, and that's the problem with a lot of these demos, which is fine. I get it. But you can see here how this will not work. And even if you do it the Dan method way and you put pressure in, and even if you punch, if you're lucky, if you land a good punch, it might work. But you are more likely to both get hit, right? Double knockout type scenario, or just the sheer momentum of a hook punch will probably cross out any forward punch force, if you will.
So what I want to give him a little bit.
Look, that was a bitch slap move, and that's exactly what they're replicating.
Little bit.
Boom, bitch slap. That's not a hook. Not whatsoever. Anyone that's watching this, anyone that knows how to throw a proper, that took a boxing class for like a month, will laugh at this video.
Right? It stings a little bit, but give a little bit of that pressure, right?
Okay, pressure's good. I like that. He's trying to make it a little bit more realistic of a hit. Totally on board with that idea. But the actual attack, and if this is the video on how to properly stop a hook punch cold, now you're gonna get knocked out cold. All right.
Then you won't, even you accidentally hit him, it won't hurt that much, right? Try again.
Yee. You tell me, guys, is this what a Tan's supposed to look? This is a block now. This is not Wing Chun, and this Dan needs to call this stuff out. Okay, Dan needs to call this stuff out. They've got the distance completely wrong. The forward intention's not there. Dan should be calling him up, teaching him, dude, your body's like 2 feet apart. You need to be 1 foot closer, and the hit needs to come in more committed. And then this Tansao, quote unquote, needs to really shoot forward, like Dan was saying in the beginning. Come on, man, teach your students. Your students are looking to you for your advice, and like this is probably like a good reflection of his sales skills, and there's all those videos out there about how he's scamming his students. This is like the perfect reflection expressed in martial art form.
Yes. And then give him a little bit. Go ahead. No, harder. Harder. Harder.
It doesn't matter how hard. Yeah, it's going to hurt the attacker, and he can swing as hard as he wants, as fast as he wants, because this is not a hook punch. This is just like a little slap move. And like I said, you can use any. It doesn't. You don't need to be an expert in any martial art to block this.
So you're practicing. You so that harder. So let him feel a little bit of that. Right? Let him feel a little bit of that. So
it's not even a hook. It's like he's like psyching himself up to like hit faster or bitch slap a little bit faster. Watch.
Turns out you can do it this way. That's where we start. I personally like to turn. I like to do it more. So you can do it this way.
So here Dan is talking about how the Tansao does work, but he prefers to just
I like to do it more.
Change the position of the hand. I can do, like, I prefer both. I do have a preference for this if I were to stop the hook, and I do it for a different reason and something I could show in a future video. But the point here is that the Tansao, when done properly, or in his hand position, what they call the Faksao position, when done properly, will technically work if you've got the angle and the pressure right. So his whole point of how other styles do it wrong, or Wing Chun styles don't do it correctly, is actually wrong. He just either wasn't taught properly, or the instructor just didn't know how to express themselves or something, or he's just using this as a way to try to differentiate himself from other Wing Chun schools. But he's just fully admitted that the Tansao does work, and whether you put the palm up or down really makes it's very, very little of a difference. All it is just preference, or aesthetics and preference.
This way, okay, and you cut in. The concept is not waiting to defend. You're cutting in like two knives. You're cutting in
like two knives, guys. That's how you cut in. Like two knives. Thanks.
Like that. You've seen Bruce's photo part in the Bruce Lee's.
This is not. He's just posing, guys. This is not how you defend a hook punch. Look how close this arm is. If this is a legit defense against a hook punch, you're eating that hook punch. It's your hands are way too close to your face. There are no boxing gloves. You can't use that to protect you. This is obviously a pose for a photo. Please stop associating yourself with Bruce Lee.
Method, he's like that. Your hand is not like this. You're going in. You're going in, then you can fall.
Are you guys watching the background too? Like, you can just tell how bad this whole scenario. This guy is supposedly the Wing Chun defender now. Where is the Wing Chun here? I don't see it in the stance. This is a karate block. There's no forward intention. These guys aren't even training that hard. I don't know if they're just instructed to do it this way. They're not breaking a sweat. You can tell that there's no real intensity here.
With different strikes, right? Try again. Now,
look.
Let me demonstrate with Jason.
Right? There's nothing there. Guys, if I were to see this without Wing Chun experience, I would laugh at you. And the fact that I've got Wing Chun experience, I'm giving you a lot of benefit of the doubt here. And obviously, I know that you're really new to this. So I'll go light, but the instruction you're getting is pretty weak.
So when as a partner, that's why you want your partner to improve. This
Bitch slap.
Go ahead.
Not a hook punch. Not a hook punch.
That one's not so good.
You see how far he is? This is the problem, and Dan needs to call it out. Right? When Dan does it, he steps in. This guy's not. He's leaning in, and it's because he's got a natural fear of getting close, and this is normal for every new Wing Chun student. So you got to build those fundamentals first before you do this defense. And again, like, look how much else what else is wrong? Like, there's so many things. This isn't even doing anything. His arm's not even there. His arm's attacking his shoulder blade. Of course it's gonna work, because he could literally cut off his arm and it would still be fine.
So push. Push. Not bad. But I'm not using.
He's got to step in, not push. So I get the intention of the push, right? You actually hurt, like, the idea is that you're actually moving the attacker's body. You gotta step in. You cannot stay far out, too far away.
Not force. I'll give you a little bit of force. See how his body move a little bit, right? So I want him to know, okay, that wasn't so good. That might have gone through to me, right? One time? Yeah, that's better. And don't block through here. Don't block so as slowly. You go through that, Jason. Here. Don't block here. Block here.
Yes and no. So it depends on the type of attack. So the type of attack that these students are throwing, number one, they're not a hook punch. They're what I call the bitch slap. And if it's the bitch slap, you can block at the forearm. Totally okay. Right? And in fact, he's trying to teach them to block the hook at the elbow area. Again, it depends on the angle of the hook. But I will say that you got to be very careful with that because there's the bend. He can bend the forearm. It can actually reach and clock you in the jaw. It can snake past your block and clock you in the jaw. So it's not all or nothing. It really depends on the type of attack and the angle and the speed of the hook punch.
Okay, because all the power is here, right? Feel the different hit. See that? Hit hard. The power, right?
So let's see if he does it again.
I'm doing this. One time.
See? So what happens is if this was a real punch, his arm would bend around Dan's hand, and the sheer momentum of a real hook punch can actually carry over and clock him in the jaw. And yeah, Dan might tap him or hit him, but you're both getting hit. Okay, so that's the danger here.
See that? So you should you should feel that little bit of sting, right? Try again, one time. You can hear the wave in the background.
Thanks.
Okay. Relax. Don't do the same rhythm again. Relax. Take the time.
Yeah, that's an important point. A lot of people get into a rhythm, so it becomes very predictable in the drill, right? There's the same beat, the attacker moves on the same step, the same count, and they just do it out of rhythm, right? Out of the rhythm of, okay, I gotta get in 10 reps or something like that. So it's really important to have your students reset, shift distance, fake the attack to get everyone just get them off the timing, and that's intentional because you just can't predict timing, and you want to replicate that unpredictability of a fight or of a sparring scenario.
That's bad. That's better.
Look at this guy's fist. Does that look like a hook punch to you guys? Where is it even going? Right? If the arm wasn't there, where would this punch go? That's the thing. That's my question to you.
That's better. As you evolve, you do this drill and you're doing it friendly. Now, then what you want to do is you exaggerate. You don't hit harder, but you pretend you hit harder. Okay. So give a little bit of motion as a friend, as a training partner. So I can do this all day. Jason, do that. That's nice, right? Suddenly, one more time.
What did he do? He said the word boom. That was it. You got to come in. You got to have real intention here. And like I said, there's a way to do it, to throw it where you don't actually hurt the person, even if you make contact. But it's so important to get that same mechanic right in a proper hook. And exerting vocal cords while doing it doesn't really add anything. There's nothing here. It's all aesthetics and false sense of confidence is what's happening.
Give it a little bit of that. So then, right? Training that way, a little bit more realistic. Doesn't mean you hit the guy, and just put a bit more emotion to it.
Which I agree with. I think that's a good idea. You want to create that realism, that spontaneity, that surprise element. It's just hard to when you're doing a drill over and over again with the same partner over and over again.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not the sound. Okay, it's the mechanics. It's the actual thrust of the punch. It's the angle of the punch.
So you want to train the nervous system. So when you see a blurb, you don't think it's not like the guy. Ooh, So training all day in a dojo in a martial arts school, you can do this freaking all day. Suddenly when someone tries to hit you with a little bit of more killer instinct, trying to hurt you, now you freeze. You don't want to do that, right?
Are you watching this guy? I don't mean to pick on him, but like I said, this is a reflection of the teacher, right? It is. He's waiting. Like, oh man, he's not moving in. He's gonna eat a hook so fast and knocked out cold.
The more he tries to hit, the more he does that, the more you want to be calm. So I'm practicing, right? Right? The more you try to be calm. Now I took this, I hold back because I know it's going force because you would have hurt him really bad. So pull back a little bit. Try one time. Right?
You tell, poor guy, he got hurt on that last one, his arm, and now he's holding back on the hit. I've been there. This type of demo, you know, when your arm is wide like that and you're going for that angle, it hurts because you know, Dan's arm, that particular angle, it's literally cutting through your forearm, like bone to bone, and or bone to forearm, and it's not a pleasant feeling at all. That said, you know, Dan is, you know, he's got the structure, he knows what the attack is, he's probably done this many times, and so, you know, he's at the advantage here. And this poor student is just doing the same, not a hook punch, whatever it is, over and over again, so that it repeats the same pain feeling each time.
I do it chest, but in reality, this is a straight punch to the throat, right? Notice my fist is here.
You also notice too, look how far they are. You don't want to, you want to get a little bit closer than that. I would argue maybe half distance at least, and really commit. If the argument is, you know, you want the punch to go behind your head, you got to commit, you got to go all in. This is way too far. You know, it doesn't take much to just get out of that. Now the other guy's out in the safe zone. Now you're in that level of unpredictability. You can't feel or have that contact with the attacker.
It's not here, right? As he goes through this thing, trust me, it's gonna hurt.
No, I'm not trusting you. I do not trust. If you watch his students and they're going to go on trust that their punch hurts somebody, yeah, bad day for you, my friends. You are getting knocked out cold. You know, a yellow belt in karate will knock your ass out.
The harder he comes forward with this, the more this hurts, right? That's why Wing Chun, the punch goes through the air. Okay, try a couple more times, then we'll wrap this up. Very important, practice slowly in the beginning, and have your partner give you the same rhythm, feel the same rhythm first, and then kind of semi, not so 100%, always the same rhythm. You might try the different beat, so you get used to it. And that.
Yeah, in that example, you can see, if you were watching the two guys in the background, that's what he did. The attacker didn't attack. He took a bit longer to attack, and the defender actually went ahead and actually did the move when there was actually no attack, which is good. That's what you want to do. You want to make sure that things become unpredictable.
Realistically, how you stop that hook punch.
This is not realistic, guys. Do not use this, or at least go to a proper Wing Chun instructor who actually can stop a proper hook punch.
Hold. Ideally, it's not what we want to do. We want to hit first. We want to go in, but we don't. It's not like we wait, but if that actually happens, you try it. If you're not sure if you can block the hook punch, have a friend, just put on a glove and say, you know what, I want you to hook punch. Don't try a combination, just hook punch my face. But I want you to do like 50% power, 50% speed. And
if you're going to do that, get a friend that knows what they're doing. Don't just get your best friend who's never done any sort of martial arts in their life to throw a hook punch. It's a waste of time. Try to find someone who you can trust, who is not, you know, there's no ego, and they respect that you're learning a traditional Chinese martial art. You know, with MMA out there, there's a lot of Thai boxers out there, Thai boxing, kickboxing out there, and a lot of people poo-poo on Kung Fu, and I totally get it. And so if you use those guys, they may actually not be so cooperative. You need someone that can give you a realistic attack, but at the same time help build you up. And that means holding back, right? That means slowing things down. But at the end of the day, to help you train the appropriate reflexes, angles, feeling of what it should be like to do a proper defense.
See if your Wing Chun can defend that. I think you'd be surprised because I see a lot of guys, you think can defend, put on just a glove, boom, you hit him again, you hit him again. After hit him a couple times, okay, maybe I need to modify my approach just a little bit, right? And then what happened?
What is this? This is a karate block. This is not Wing Chun anymore. Dan, go talk to your students. They're paying you $10,000 a consult, so give them at least, $5,000 worth of value, right?
To me, when I do boxing, I got my ass kicked, right? So when I modified, okay, now I can better defend myself. So that's how I start the hook punch. If this is the first time you're watching my video, make sure you click.
All right. There you go, guys. Great video from Dan. We'll see what happens next. Until then, cheers.